David is the son-in-law of Shaul, but Shaul thinks that David is trying to take over his kingdom, which isn't really justified, but that's what he thinks all the same. And David has fled with his 600 men and their wives and their children to the area of Pelishtim. David has managed to get the confidence of the king of Pelishtim called Aish and his trust, lying that he often raids the Jewish towns and villages. The explanation behind why that could be perceived as being true is because since David was being chased by Shaul and the other Jews of Israel, so it would make sense in Aish's eyes that David would have it in for them and raid them. But David never did anything of the sort, he just lied pretending he did that. Anyway, at the moment, the story is that the Philistines have gathered their army to go and war against the Jews in the north of Israel, in the Jezreel Valley. Hello. And David has come along, because if we can trust David, then why shouldn't David be brought along? So David has been brought along. He's in a bit of a dilemma, because what's he going to do? Okay? Yeah. But that's going to be his problem. In the meantime, we're told that Shaul is a bit scared about what's going to be with the future, with this huge Philistine army that he's going to have to fight. Philistine are up north in the Jezreel Valley. If you look in your map, you'll see where look over the map, you'll see where they are. Up north here, right? The Philistine area is around here, but they've gone all the way up here, up to a place called Shunem, which is over there. Shunem. Shaul's army is in the Jezreel, on the Jezreel Valley, which is just over here.
Do they go up there just to battle, or do they go?
We said they went up there to do battle because they wanted to steal the crops. Yeah, that was our argument, right? But we don't know; it doesn't say. Right? This is where the crops of Israel grow around this area. It makes sense the first time we actually wanted to do that. Okay, okay. So Shaul was scared about the future, and he didn't have it. He tried the regular, normal methods of getting the divine information, which is either through prophets or through the Urim V'Tumim of the Kohen Gadol, you know that, the breastplate, or through asking in dreams, and none of them had worked, and so he resorted to illegal methods, which are called necromancy. And then he managed to contact a witch in the town of Ein Dor, and she managed to bring back the neshama of Shmuel, or the ruach of Shmuel, and he asked Shmuel what's going to be, and Shmuel said that tomorrow you're going to go out to battle, you and your sons will be killed, and the Jewish people will lose the battle. But as Chazal and Medayik in the words, that means they nuance in the words, it says you will be with me. With me means in a nice, yes, not just dead, yes, so up in Shamayim, and not being punished for all his mistakes, and be forgiven for his things. If he goes and shows the courage that he's trusting that that's the right thing, listening to the words of the prophet. Don't forget, one of his big mistakes was he didn't take the words of the prophet literally. The prophet told him to wait a week before you bring your sacrifices, not to be scared, and he'll be showing somewhat of a tshuva by going to listen to the words of the prophet as he's telling him now. Anyway, that was a story in chapter 27 and chapter 28. Right? And we're now up to chapter 29. Shaul has gone back to his camp after finding this information from the witch of Ein Dor. Let's put this on. Oh, it's gone off altogether. Second, chapter 20. Come on. Here we go. Okay, chapter 29. The Philistines, we're back in the Philistine camp describing their camping. So they moved up from the south, they all got together somewhere in the Philistine area, marched north and came to a place called Shunem, and now they've moved to a place called Afek. Vayikbetzu, this is a small chapter, Vayikbetzu Philistine. The Philistines gathered their troops together, they gathered together, as Kol Machanem, all their camps. So they're different camps, different legions, and they're all gathered together in a place called Afek. Afeka, on page 85, means to Afek. Now,
show where we are, so I can follow on.
First pause.
Okay.
now if you're looking for Afek, it could be difficult to find. You see, Afek is a relatively common place in Israel. For example, there's one place up here called Afek.
It's not this one?
There's one up there called Afek. One there called Afek. It's probably neither of them, because they're moving closer to the battle and they're already in Shunem. So Shunem is up here. There must be another Afek over here. Now the reason why there's so many places called Afek is the word Afek means a spring, a stream. That's what it means. We say that in Shiramalos. Alafike Mayim. Right? Or Ka'afikim Banegev. Right? So Afek means a stream. So lots of streams are called Afek. So lots of places which are near a stream, the place will be called Afek. So that's why I can see at least two over here. There's probably more in this little country called Israel, called Afek. So there's another place called here Afek, and that's where they all got gathered together. The Israel and the Israel Chonim, where they camping. So they were in the Jezreel Valley. It tells you exactly where they were. But Ayin, now Ayin is probably not the name of the place.
What was it?
Ayin.
Ayin?
Ba'ayin, in the place called Ayin. No, not in Batayin. No.
Eyes.
No. Ayin means, no, Ayin here doesn't mean, Ayin means a well, a spring. Okay? So in the Jezreel Valley there is a spring. The truth is, as I told you, it's called the Valley of the Springs. Emek Ma'ayanot. Ma'ayanot. A Ma'ayan is a spring, Ayin is the same word. It's the same roots, it's almost the same thing. Okay, so they're in the Afek and they're both by, obviously that's the most probable place for an army to camp, is where there's a water source. So one's in a place called Afek, which is the river, and one's by the spring, which is the Ayin. Asher Yisrael, which is in Yisrael. Yisrael is the whole valley with springs, so they're by the spring. Now, V'saunei Pelishtim. Now a seren is some sort of level in the army. It seems from this story it's a very high level. Okay, the king of Pelishtim, although he may not be the king of all of the Pelishtim, we don't know. We know he was the king of Gat, which was one of the 5 Philistine towns. Probably the Seren is the same as the king, only in one of the other towns. But we'll see. The Saunei Pelishtim and the Saunei Pelishtim, the officers or governors, I think is the better word, of the Philistines of Rim, they are passing. Mr. Mean described in the present tense, lemeot, in their hundreds, ve'alafim, in their thousands. Now, I don't think it means that there are hundreds and there are thousands of Saunim. It doesn't mean that. It means that each one of these was passing with their platoons, which had hundreds and thousands of soldiers.
It's also like the song that they had for Shaul and David.
Yes, correct. So the hundreds and thousands is the unit in the army. You have smaller units of 100, and when you have 10 of them, you have 1,000. So they're called brigades, they're called units. I don't know what they're called, exactly what the word used in modern English would be. And they're marching, it would seem, filing past the royal parade, making sure they're all ready for battle. The David v'Anashov, and David and his men, because they were also a part of this, right? David was part of the Philistine army. David couldn't get out and say, "Oh, I don't fight Jews." What do you mean you don't fight Jews? You've been fighting them months and months. You kept telling me this story. Okay, so David at the moment is not actually ready to fight. He's going to be, what did we say? The bodyguard. Yeah. Right? That's what Aish said. You'll be my, because that looked too silly for him to actually fight. Okay? It'll be too difficult for, and Aish knows there'll be opposition if he does that.
Ones,
yeah. Va'anashav over him, they're coming ba'achreina at the back. Im Aish, with Aish. So they were the last ones to pass. Vayomru sarei Philistine. And the officers of the Philistines said, Maha Ivrim ha'eleh. What are these Jews doing? Again, we've had this several times. Ivrim is a derogatory term used by non-Jews to describe Jews. Yeah. They don't call us Yisrael, which was our proud name. They call us Ivrim.
What was it? Sorry.
Sorry, our officers.
Ivrim means slave, right?
No, Eved means slave. Ivri means foreigner.
Yeah, it means others.
From the other side. Okay? Or it could mean Hebrews in the sense that it means descended from someone called Aver, who was one of Noah's great grandsons. It could mean both, it could mean either or, but it's certainly not the normal use to describe Jews. It's usually something that Goyim describe us with. Very rare for a Jew to call himself an Ivri. Right? Just like we have other derogatory names for different groups of people.
It's like saying Goyim and right?
Yes, right.
Goyim and
now the word Goyim isn't literally a derogatory term, but you mean it.
It isn't either.
It isn't literally, but that's how it's used, right?
And that's how
now you can say no. It's more like a shagats. When you say a shagats,
I guess. You can also, guy can be used derogatory.
It could be derogatory. It depends how it's. Yeah, the word Ivri doesn't have to be derogatory, but you see it in its context. It's Philistines use that word. We don't call ourselves Ivri. We only mentions one case. You see Yoina. Yoina, when he's in the boat, when he's fleeing, he calls himself an Ivri, and there Chazal have a whole explanation why he used that word. It's not, Yosef also calls himself that, but that was for another. Again, each time it occurs where Jews use it, it's strange. Anyway, that's what they say. Who are these Ivrim? What are they doing here? Achish said, "Oh, sorry, finished." He said to the officers of the Philistines, "Haloi is David? Isn't this David?" It means, what's the problem? This is David.
Yeah.
Haloi, is this not David? Eved Shaul, the servant of Shaul, Melech Israel, king of Israel. Means you know who he is. Asher, but what are you worried about? It means I understand your concern. Asher haya iti, who has been with me. Haya was iti with me. Ze yamim, he's been with me
This whole
a
day.
while. Yamim really means days,
Yeah.
or it means a year. But
He hasn't been
here, he's, according to the way we read it, he's been with them for 4 months and 2 days. That's why we read it so far. So Yamim is just, he's been here a while, but then this really strange part of what he says. Ozeh shanim, or years. Now, is that because Achish's memory is not playing well? He can't remember how long David's been there. He's been here with me. Whatever it means, it doesn't make sense. He's been with me Yamim, Ozeh shanim.
Well, Yamim makes sense.
No, the sentence doesn't make sense, not the words. The words make sense.
Oh, shanim.
What does it mean? He's not sure how long he's been there?
Right.
I mean, why?
So the Mephorians say what he's trying to say is, I have to continue to the end of the sentence. V'loi matzasi, I have not found, boy, in him, me'uma, anything. I mean, I've not found any fault, any bad, in my opinion. Miyom naflo, from the day that he fell, means he fell in, right? And he landed here, as you would say in English, right? From the day that he landed in the Philistine camp, out of till this day. I never found any fault, anything that I can suspect that seems to be very trustworthy. Now, so some say it means even if he'd been here for years, I'm sure that I would be able to rely on him. He's actually not been here so long, he's been here for a few months. But even if he'd been here for years, I'm sure that we wouldn't find anything wrong with him. That's how some read it. Others say it means since the time I knew him the first time. It means the first time I knew him was when he fled from Shaul at the beginning. And then they were suspicious of him, they wanted to kill him. And then he ran away. And then he only came back a long time later on. So he says, whatever you count from, whether you count from now or you count from the first time, either way, I haven't found anything wrong with him. Vayiktefu alav tsarei Philishtim. Okay, let's see if we can work out this word. Vayiktefu. Vayiktefu from the word ketzef. Ketzef means?
Money?
No, that's kesef. That's kesef with a kaf. This is ketzef with a kuf. Ketzef. It means froth.
Is that why Kesefet is called Kesefet?
Kesefet is a safe where you keep money.
Kesefet is ice cream store.
Oh, very good. Right, so that's why the ice cream was katzefet, because it has. Very good, actually, because it's the stuff on the top of the ice cream, the froth. Okay, so ketzef means to froth, but here it means to get angry. If you would say in English, he was foaming at the mouth. What do you mean?
Rabies.
You mean that he was angry. Not really had rabies, but you mean he was acting like he had rabies, correct? Yeah, what you really mean is angry. So just like in English, we associate anger with frothing, the same as in Hebrew. Like yiktzof means he got angry. Literally the word ketzef means froth. But it's used in this context to mean to get angry. Like yiktzefu alav sorry Philistine, and the Philistines got angry with Achish. And they said to him, sorry Philistine. And the sorry Philistine said to him, Hashev es ha'ish. Return the man, means send him back, referring to David. V'yashov el mekomo, so that he should go back to his place. Asher hifkadeto sham, where you deposited him.
Tanach.
Means go back to Tiklon, which is the town that you gave him to stay. We don't want him here. Here he's what do you call it? A fifth column, is that the word? When you have
Third wheel.
no, you have like people who you suspect in an army will just make things worse.
Oh.
There's a word for it.
Infiltrator.
Yes, but I think fifth column is the right word. Check it out.
I'll let you know in a second.
Fifth column. You Americans don't speak English.
I've never heard.
You ever heard the expression?
Not that we don't speak English.
I've also never set up an army and had to worry about that.
A clandestine group of people who undermine a nation or organization from within, acting as secret sympathizers with an external enemy
Fifth
to
column.
sabotage, spy,
I
or
told you,
spread
because don't speak English.
disinformation.
That's your problem. Okay, exactly word. Fifth column. I don't know where the word comes from, but that's what it means. It means people who you suspect that they will help the enemy at the time of war. And that's what the problem is, right? Okay, David, you trust David. We don't trust him, okay? And therefore we don't think it's a good idea for him to be here. It's just going to get in our way.
Is it not interesting that they're only talking like in the singular? Because there's 600 other.
Oh, very, very, very excellent, beautiful diuk. I'll go through all the diuk when we finish the chapter. Maybe we'll answer them. I've got a whole approach to this chapter. But let's read the thing first, straightforward. Yeah. Send the man back home via Shov El Makomos. He should go back to his place. I'm not saying you should send him back to the land of Israel because there he's true. They don't like him there. But send him back to Tziklag, which is the town you gave him to dwell. And he will not go down with us to war. Lo yered, he will not go down. Imanu with us, ba'milchama, in the battle. Satan, so he shouldn't be a Satan. Satan means
Evil.
no.
Sin.
No. Hindrance. Something that gets in the way. The Satan is that which gets in your way. We refer to the thing that gets in our way of serving God as the Satan. But the word Satan doesn't mean Satan, as it obviously does, right? But it doesn't mean as you would think of it. It's used in that context, but it really means to get in somebody's way.
Dead weight.
Dead weight?
Like he's not contributing anything.
No, more than that. Something gets in your way. Something's making life difficult for you.
I thought it was prosecutor.
Doesn't mean that either.
Translation.
Does it
No.
say- Is it
No.
Is it?
No, prosecutor is kategor. And that's probably not a Hebrew word. When the angel, comes in to get in Bilam's way, it says the same word, right? Bilam's on the way to curse the Jews, and he gets in his way,
An obstructionist.
right? Someone gets it right.
What
That's
about
what
like the quote is stumbling block for the blind?
that's
Is
a
that-
michshol. It's a different word. That's a stumbling block, correct? I don't know. Maybe they're sort of synonyms, but not really. One's something you trip up on. It's like an object. One is a person that gets in your way. Okay? So yes, we use the word Satan to refer to the angel that God created to entice us and to accuse and all sorts of other things that he does.
Okay.
Right? He does all those things, correct.
But
That's
it's
how
not
we've,
like-
it's not really the Hebrew word. The word Satan means to get in somebody's way. So that's what is the word. So he's going to get in our way. So that he should not be in our way, ba'milchama, in the war. Ubameh yisratze ze el Adonav. And through what can this, referring to David, be mitratze? See if you can work out what that word means. Mitratze. So the root is, and no? What's the root?
It's Rasa. Ratza.
I want three-letter root.
Ratza.
Ratza, very good. What does Ratza mean?
Run.
No, that's Ratz. That's very good. But that would be a different root. That would be roots. Reish, Vav, Tzadi would be the root of to run. Ratza is from the word, like we say, ritzei.
Yeah, one.
Ritzei, we say in davening the whole time, right? Ritzei. V'achalitzeinu. Ritzei, okay? It means to desire, from the word ratzon, to want something. So, to be desired. We want God to desire our prayers. That's what it means to ritzei. They should be accepted graciously. So, yitratzeh is reflexive. Something you do to yourself. To make yourself wanted. Right? To make yourself be in somebody's good books. So, ubameh yitratzeh zeh. What do you think that this guy needs to do to make himself in Shaul's good books? We know that Shaul is chasing. We know that Shaul's got it in for him. But what do you think that all David needs to do to reverse Shaul's hatred is to
Kill us.
is to kill us, right? To sabotage our plans. That's exactly what he's going to do. But how will this guy congratulate himself with his master? Haloi, is it not? With the heads of those people, meaning ourselves. Right? But people don't like to put curses on themselves, so when they refer to themselves, they mean them. Right? Parody the same thing. The Jews will fight us and they will leave the land. What he really meant was we will have to leave the land. Right? But people often, when they say a curse, they don't even like to say it, and therefore they put it on somebody else. That's what it means. Right? Clearly that is his way of ingratiating himself with his master, and therefore it's too risky to leave David around. Therefore we got angry with Aish and said, send him back. Haloi, is this not this David asher ya'anu lo b'mecholot, that they proclaim in their dances, where the Jewish women dance or sing or ballads. You know what a ballad is?
What?
like
Ballad.
so.
A song, right? The Irish sort of thing, no? Scottish, by
the things on the side of
No.
the
This is Ballaad, I think.
Ballad.
And ballad, right? Okay, so what do they sing about? They sing the following. Jewish women or men, when they get around to a kumzitz, they sing as follows. Lamar, this is what they say. Hika Shaul ba'alofov, Shaul has strucken in his thousands, for David b'ribavoisov, and David his tens of thousands. So yes, it's true that some of them have got it in for David, but David's still what they sing about. So clearly David at the moment didn't need Shaul's bad books, but this is his way of getting back. There's some underlying longing for David. Okay, so what's Aish got to do? He's got no choice. He's got to go and speak to David and tell him, I'm sorry, I really want you here. But the other guys agree. I trust you. Look, I trust you. I know I trust you with my life, right? I trust you, but, And originally, Aish was already concerned about this. He knew that this would happen, and that's why he didn't want David to fight. He said, David, look, I really trust you, but I don't think it's politically correct for you to come and fight with us, but so you be my bodyguard. That's what Aish had said. Now, it looks like these people are not happy with either. Even that, David can find a way to sabotage.
Yeah.
Okay. Vayikra Aish el David. Vayomer, he said to him, Chai Hashem. Oh, this is so funny. He's swearing by the life of who? By Yudke Vavke. If he would swear by Chelukim, that would be one thing, but he's a Philistine, and the Philistines even have a concept of Yudke Vavke is a Chiddush. It's a very Jewish concept. The Goyim, even when they refer to their own gods, don't use this word. So when they refer to God, we found it in the beginning of the Book of Shmuel, that they refer to the Ark of God. Sometimes the Ark of Elohim, sometimes the Ark of Hashem, and they gradually seem to learn. So either they've learned that, or simply they learned from being around David HaMelech. He just couldn't.
He doesn't say it.
Maybe he does. We didn't see it, but we're not privy to all the conversations between David and Aish. He said, "How you doing, Baruch Hashem?" B'siyata d'Ishmaya. It says that when Yosef was in the house of Potiphar, right? Everything he did, Hashem was matzliach, and Chazal say that Yosef brought in the name of Hashem into the house of Potiphar. Everyone started saying Baruch Hashem and Inshallah, all this sort of stuff, right? People would praise.
They would say Baruch Hashem back then. Yeah.
Well, whenever they spoke Egyptian, that's why I said you can say Arabic as well, but it doesn't have to be saying in Hebrew in order to be Baruch Hashem. Thank God.
They wouldn't say the names of God that are in the Bible. They would say something else like.
No, they wouldn't say Avodah Zarah. No, that's exactly the point. They would say it in their language, but Yosef was telling them Yosef was referring to God. So when you speak to a goy, you speak to a goy in the street in England, say how you doing? Thank God. What does it mean? I know what he means by that. He means thank God. That was a thing that Yosef introduced. That people were using God's name the whole time. So it could be that under the influence of David, Aish was also. I don't know. Anyway, it's interesting that Aish is using God's name. He said, "I swear by the life of God, Ki Yashar Ata, that you are straight." Means I trust you. I swear to God that I trust you. Everything I say you shouldn't take personally, and it's not coming from me. I trust you. V'toiv be'einai. And it is good in my eyes. Tseischa, you're going out. Ubayecha, and you're coming in. Iti with me, b'machan in the camp. Means I'm quite happy for you to come in and out with me. I trust you. Kiloi, matzasi b'chara. I haven't found any bad. Miyoim ba'ach elai, from the day that you came to me. To page 86. Ada yom hazeh, until this day. So I want you to know, I absolutely 100% trust you completely. I haven't found anything. There's no reason for me to doubt your trustworthiness. Ubenei hasiranim, but in the eyes of the governors of the Philistines, lo toiv ata, you're not good. He didn't say exactly what it is. He doesn't go through the whole message, but in short, look, I'm happy with you. They're not pleased. Therefore, what? What do I have to say? V'ata. And now, shuv. Go back home, velech b'shalom, and go in peace. So you shouldn't do any bad. And I don't suspect you will do bad, but it shouldn't be even bad in the eyes of the Philistine governors, because they're the ones who suspect you.
I was probably very happy right now.
For sure, right? It's exactly what they would hope would happen, right? He doesn't want to fight the Jews, but he doesn't know how to get out of it. And now God has planned it all. Now he's got out of it. He's got to go back. Okay, all right. So if you were David, what you say? Phew, boss, thank you very much.
Oh, he has to
bye
play.
bye. He has to play the line. Right, because he doesn't want to, agree straight away. Because that looks a bit suspicious. Yeah. You have to try and.
Are you sure there's nothing?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So what does he do? Sorry. David Achish. But David says to Achish, "Kimel sisi." I don't know what the key really means. Key means because, but it doesn't really mean because. It means for. Mel sisi. What have I done? What have I done that people should suspect me? Don't you know that I am a trustworthy supporter, ally of the Philistines? And what have you found be'avdecha in your servant? From the day that I was in front of you, until this day. Like, what's your problem? Now, it's a bit funny because Achish already said, I haven't found anything wrong. So,
he's asking from their perspective.
Yeah, but it's correct, but it's not what he says. That's the nuance he should have said, what did they find? Not what you find.
Right.
Funny. Okay, I'm just pointing out the problematics, the
collective view.
The problems of the text, which initially most people just whitewash over and continue, right?
Yeah.
He's saying, like you said, he means general.
Hayiti.
I say Hayiti, that I was. And it's from the day that I was in front of you until this day. Kilai avai, that I cannot come, v'nilchamti, and I will fight, ba'ovei Adoni HaMelech, against the enemies of my master the king, was a problem. And this is also problematic. No one ever suggested you should fight. We already agreed that you're going to be the bodyguard. So what's David talking about?
Right.
Okay, but that's what David's saying. He's like playing offended, right? Acting offended. What do you find wrong with me? How can I go out and fight? Vayan Achish, and Achish answered. El David, this is what he said. Yodati, I know, Kitoivata, that you are good. Be'enai, I know you're good in my eyes. Kim Malach Elokim, like an angel of God. Interesting expression, right? What can I do? Sorry for Lishtim. It's the officers of the Philistines. Amru, they said, Lo yameh imanu b'milchama. He will not go up with us in war. You're right. What can I do? Now, again, the problem with this is it doesn't look like he's said anything new. Like, so David will keep saying it. Achish didn't provide any new information in this answer, right?
Right.
So what's happened? Okay. Ve'ata. So now, hashkem baboke. Get up early in the morning. Ve'avdei adonecha, and the servants of your master. Now the servants of your master, who's David's master?
Shaul.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that.
Shaul.
I think it means me.
Oh, okay.
And the servants of your master means all the other men who are with you. Asher bo'u, who came with you.
Oh.
So you and all of them get up, not just you. V'hishkamtem baboker, you'll get up early in the morning. He said that. V'or lachem, and when it is light for you, v'lechu, and you will go. So he's not really explained, given any new information, just said, and now he's brought them all in it.
Yeah.
Originally it was really just David, and now he's telling them all to go.
Yeah.
V'or lachem, and when it's light for you, v'lechu, you'll go. Vayashkim David, so David got up early in the morning, Hu vatnoshav, he and his men, Aleches, to go babok in the morning. They got up early to go in the morning. But Lashuv Aleres Pelishtim, it sounds what it means. It doesn't say they got up early and went. It means they got up very early so they could go early. Right? They weren't. The normal thing would be you get up at dawn when it starts to be light, so that you can go when it's sunrise. Because when it's sunrise, it's light. It looks right from the story that he's telling them to get up earlier than that. Get up when it's actually dark, so you can leave at the first light, which you can leave at dawn. See, dawn is actually just a minute. God is actually still dark. Right? The point of dawn is you can see on the horizon it's starting to light, but it's not light where you are. That's why it says, for example, you can't say the Shema until you can see the difference between blue and white. That's what it says in the Mishnah. Because you can only see the difference between blue and white when it starts to get light here. The fact that it's dawn, right, and theoretically it's already considered morning, is not when it's light over here. And he says, for or lachem, even though it's not really light in the world, as soon as you can see a little bit, that's when you'll leave. So it looks like they're actually leaving earlier than most people would get up. They're going when it's still dark. You can't leave in the dark, right? As soon as the first light, you'll leave. So that's why you ask him, David went, Laleches, to go. They got up early so they could go babok in the morning. Shiur Leretz Pelishtim, to go back to the land of Pelishtim, because that's where David lived, as opposed to the land of Israel. Or Pelishtim, Alu, they went further up. Looks like they went up the hills of Yisrael to Yisrael. So they moved from Pelishtim to Shunem, from Shunem to Afek, from Afek to Yisrael. Right? And now they're ready to battle. Okay, so we read those 11 verses, and it's more or less straightforward if you read it superficially. Right? There's a lot of nuanced things which make problems. Okay? Again, basically the story is that David and Aish, they're all filing past on a parade, ready to see the soldiers all ready for battle, and then the officers of the Philistines don't like this idea, and they say to Aish, this guy's going to get in the way. And Aish goes to David and says, look, I'm very sorry, I really trust you, what can I do? And David says, well, I'm insulted, right? You don't let me fight? And he says, well, it's not my fault, I trust you, but they don't. And he says, you leave in the morning, you and your men, and that's what he did.
Not just that, why would he even let the men? Like, if he was concerned about David in the beginning and he wanted to use him as a bodyguard to like keep him close and things like that and not have him directly fight, why would he let the other 600 people come with?
Well, they're all his bodyguards. It's a whole group.
600 bodyguards.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, there's something you didn't notice because I didn't stress it, but the Malbim says the key to understanding this chapter, to really understanding what's going on, because there's a lot of things difficult with this chapter, right? Like, especially that idea that David says, like, well, let's go through what the problems are. First of all, they start originally just him, okay, which is
they started originally
Aish.
multiple.
What did they say?
Your.
They said Hashev es Aish. What?
First they say Ivrim, multiple.
No.
They go back to singular.
Right, yes, they noticed the Ivrim and said, what's going on? They said, it's David. He says, oh, you can't have David, you've got to send David home. And they point out very clearly, Aish, Hashev es Aish, send back the man, implying in the singular. Okay, that's one. In the end, Aish sent them all back.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one problem. Next problem is, Aish says, why does David so keen to play dumb, right? Or play insulted, or act as if he's not happy with the arrangements, right? It doesn't make sense. It's just, okay, David said right here, okay, I'll go back. Okay. The fact it makes sense doesn't mean it's not problematic, right? It's still a bit strange that David has to do that, right? So he knows that Aish is happy with him, but right? And the way David says is, what have you found problem with me? What have I done? I told you already. I already told you. I have no problem with you. The problem is the other guys, right? And then that's exactly what he says. And he hasn't given any new information to get David to explain himself to David, to make David not offended. And they just says, go in the morning, early in the morning.
And David's magically not offended anymore.
What is that?
And David's magically not offended anymore.
Yeah. So you'll notice there's two different words for the officers of Pelishtim used in this chapter, and it keeps on changing. And that Malbim is the key to understand what's going on. The first time he introduces them, they're called Saunei Pelishtim. Saunei Pelishtim. The second time they're referred to as Sorei Pelishtim. Saunei Pelishtim, Sorei Pelishtim. And if you go through the chapter, they're called over here they're called Saunei, and then it says Saunei, and then it says Sorei. So it starts off Saunei, Sorei, Saunei, Sorei. Right? So again, most people read this for hundreds of years, probably for thousands of years have read this and said, Lo Yodeh. Right? I'm sure you notice it, but no one's got the foggiest idea how they're going to get out of this this nuance in the text of why it keeps changing. The Malbim claims it's two completely different people.
Right.
And there's really two stories going on over here. In the sense that there is you have to understand, this is the way politicians speak. They speak one thing, and they mean something else, and they speak in a language which is slightly vague, so they can never get caught out about what they say. I didn't say that. You thought I meant that, but really I meant as follows. Okay? Because they want to be able to change their mind, they want to be able to say something else, right? They want to offend people, they've got all sorts of different reasons. Okay? So he says the difference between Sarah and Sorry is as follows. Sorry could be thousands of them. A Sarah is any particular officer in the army, right? Which we have in Moshe Rabbeinu's camp, when he appoints the judges to be leaders, he calls them Sorry Asoros, heads of tens, Sorry Meos, Sorry Chamishim, Sorry Alofim. They're different level, right? The Seren, the Malbim claims, are the actual heads of the whole 5 areas of the Philistines. The Philistines' 5 towns are confederate. The head of each of the confederate states was a Seren. Really very much on the same level as Aish. Okay? And Aish is saying one thing,
but you mean entirely different.
but the truth is something else, and David wants to force Aish to say the truth for his own interest. And you'll see as it goes like this. He says like this: the original people who were bothered by this was the Sorry Pelishtim. Right? It says Sarne Pelishtim.
Sonny.
Right? No, the Sarne Pelishtim watched the whole thing. Right? Doesn't say anything. Then it says the Sorry Pelishtim, right, were the ones who said to David that that David is a problem, and they wanted to get rid of David. Why? They were the army officers. What were their concern about David? That David would sabotage the plans. Right? They don't know about David's men. They have nothing with David's men. As far as they're concerned, just send David home. That's fine for them. Just David. That's their concern. That's why they said just David. Just slowly. Patient. Slowly. Let's go slowly. Right? Right? Their concern. That's why they said the Sorry Pelishtim are the ones who sent David home. Now, what are they suspicious? David will sabotage things. Right? Aish can't say that to David for 2 reasons. I mean, singling David out as being the one who they want to send home clearly means that they worry that David is going to sabotage things and suspect David, and that to go along with that would be an insult to David. That there's people who actually suspect you of sabotaging of the battle. So he makes a bold story. He says that's not really the concern. Really, the problem is the Saranim, who are not the officers of the war at all. What it is the higher guys, and their problem with you is a different problem altogether. What's their problem? They're jealous of you. They're jealous of me that I have you as a bodyguard. They don't want you to be my bodyguard. Okay? That's what he says. He says. But so the truth is the way it's written first. The people who actually made this objection was the Sorin, and they had it in only for David. When he reports it to David, he makes a bold story. He says, I want you to know that I trust you completely, but be'enei hasiranim lo toivata. You're not good. He doesn't say they suspect you of sabotage. Doesn't say any of that, right? He just says they're not happy about it. What is it? You know what it is? They're jealous of me, or they're jealous of you. He doesn't even say what it is. He doesn't go into detail and say what the problem is. I trust you explicitly, but they're surrounding. They don't like that. They don't like your appointment. Now David knows that this isn't true. And that's why David is playing insulted. Not because he's trying, just a minute, not because he's trying to play poker and say, oh, I'm insulted. No, David's got a problem now. Because if this is going to happen, who are they going to send home?
Him.
Just him. Because he's the one they're jealous of. And David doesn't want that, because God doesn't want to leave his men behind. Right? So he says, I understand what your problem is. If I can't be the bodyguard, then let me go out and fight. Means if the way you reported the story, the Saranim are jealous of my position, They want to be my bodyguard, or they don't want you to have a bodyguard, but they don't actually suspect me of sabotaging it, then what's the problem? Let me go and fight. That's what he says. Let me be nilchamti. I won't be a bodyguard. I'll go out and fight.
When he originally appointed him as bodyguard, did he say that he said he was worried about the others, like they wouldn't like it, right?
No, when he said originally put him as bodyguard, he said, look, I can't let you go out and fight because they won't let you fight. Right? But I'll make you my bodyguard. Yeah. And David says, well, why can't I fight? She says, okay, I see you're insulted. I'll make you my bodyguard permanently. That was what we said back then. Right. Now David is saying, I understand. If the story is like you claim that the surrounding were the ones who said it's just not good for me to be your bodyguard, let me go out and fight. So now Aish has to say the truth. Means David forced Aish to say the truth. Right. And then he says, look what he says. Aish says, you're right. I say, in my eyes, you're like an angel of God. Where did that suddenly come from? Right? You understand? He knows that David can tell when he's not telling the truth. Only an angel of God can tell that. And then he says, sorry, Pelishtim. You're right, it wasn't the Sarnei Pelishtim, like I said originally. It was the Sarnei Pelishtim. Now wait a second. Now it's very insulting David. Although he's now told him the truth, it wasn't the Sarnei Pelishtim who were jealous of this appointment of David, but it was the Sarnei Pelishtim who were suspicious of his sabotage. Yeah, just me they suspect. So he now had to make up the story which wasn't even true, which was that they suspect all of you. It's not just personally against you. All you guys, not just you, that one-ish. The truth is, which also isn't true. But this was the way to cover up the insult for David, to say that they suspect you and all your men of sabotage. And therefore he says, it's better you all go home. Now, this is the beauty that means David had worked this all out. David knew that he was lying, and knew that if he forces him to tell him the truth, he's going to feel that he's insulting David, and therefore he's going to have to include David's men in the instruction to go home, because that's exactly what David wanted. And that's why in the end, the king said, better you should all go home, and we won't have any trouble from you, even though I don't suspect you. That's the way the Malbim reads. Of course, I'm sure makes a lot of sense, answers all the questions. It's just that until the Malbim wrote that, I'm sure that no one had ever read this, except the author. Whoever wrote this in the first place, he invented that. But you see, he's noticed these nuances and answered the whole thing. I think that maybe that also answers why he particularly wanted him to leave before it got light. You see, the original plan was just to send David home. So it wouldn't be a big deal. It wouldn't go noticed, right? But if this whole group of 600 men are all leaving, which wasn't the original plan, maybe it'll be a bit suspicious, like what's happened. No, we didn't ask you to do that. So that's why he says, look, now if you're going to leave the whole group of you, better you leave before it gets light and no one notices it and no one has big questions. Maybe. Okay. All right, so David can now take a sigh of relief. He's managed to get out of this. So not only does he have to fight the Jews and not have to fight, his men don't have to fight, and they can all go back to the land of the Pelishtim, hopefully to their wives and their children who are in...
Caves. Fortress.
No, in Ziklag. In Ziklag, right? That's probably a fortified city. Yeah. Okay, but we see what's happened. Vayihi, and it was Bavod David, when David came, the Anashab and his men, Ziklag, Bayom Hashlishi, on the third day. Now that probably means either it took them 3 days to march back, or 3 days since they left, right?
1.5.
But that's the same. Oh, yeah, it's not.
I mean, when they left Ziklag, so 1.5 days there, 1 day there. I don't know, it doesn't make a difference, right? On the third day, the Amaleki Pashtu. The Amalekim had, notice the construction, the Amalekim had attacked El Negev, the south. The Amalekim had invaded. Why did they invade? Because the Pelishtim had gone up north. So it was a great opportunity to attack. Once their armies were up north.
Didn't David already kill them all? First of all, Shaul did, and then we're going to say that
no,
maybe
David attacked. Amalek didn't kill them all. No, each town that he attacked, he killed all the inhabitants of the town. Right? But not all the towns. Okay. Amaleki Pashtu, the Amaleki spread out or attacked El Negev to the south of Eretz Yisrael. Or the south. The El Ziklag and Ziklag, which was the town that David's men, women and children were. Yaku es Ziklag, and they struck Ziklag. Yisrafu Oisam Aish, and they burnt it down in fire. They destroyed the town by burning it in fire. While David was away, and while the Pelishtim were away.
They killed everyone?
No, be patient, next passage. Vayishbu es hanoshim. Vayishbu means they took the women captive. Shevi is a captive. So they took the women captive, presumably not because they're nice, these Philistines, because they intended to use these women as
Collateral.
slaves.
Oh, or that, yeah.
Yeah, sell them off as slaves. I don't think the Philistines were nice, that they didn't kill people because they liked them, right? Vayishbu es hanoshim asher ba, they were in it, means in the city of Tziklag, mikaton, from small, the ad gadol, until big, means all ages. The little girls and the big girls, and the men as well, it seems. Well, the men were out fighting, but it also means the children. Loihei misu ish, they didn't kill any men. So the women means the adult women, the children, and the boys and girls.
So they took the women and children.
They took the women and children, right? Vayinhagu, and they led them like a nahag. What's a nahag? Come on.
And Nahar?
Nahag.
Nahad.
Nahag.
But wait.
What's a nahag? Nahag, nahag.
I don't know.
When you shout nahag?
Bus?
Never.
Oh, yes you do. Don't shout nahag.
Taxi?
No, it means the bus driver.
No,
The
never.
bus,
don't
never shout the bus driver, tend to stop or let someone on or...
No.
Because you don't know what to say, that's right. Right.
Americans are very polite.
Americans are very polite, okay. If you straight up,
Right. Bang on the door.
Right, say nahag, nahag, that means the driver. Okay, nahag is to lead. Like yinhagu, and they led, means they led this whole line of women and children slaves. And they went on their way back to Amalek land. They know the Philistines are up there fighting, they're weak till they have this battle. In the meantime, they've invaded Philistine
So
area.
Amalek went to Philistine.
And in Philistine, one of the towns there was occupied by David's
look.
women and children.
How did Amalek come back that fast? How?
We discussed this last time. David, sorry. I'll tell you afterwards. David and his men came here to the city after the 3 days break. Vihine, behold, all of a sudden, Serufa Aish, it was burnt in fire. Uneshehem and their wives, Ubenehem and their sons, Uvnoisehem and their daughters, Nishbu, were
Taken.
captured, were gone. Yeah, I mean, they could have been dead, but then they would have found their bodies there. Obviously, they've been taken captives. Yisa, David, and David raised. Yisa means to lift up. The Ha'am and the people, Ashaita, who were with him, Eskoilam, their voices. They raised their voices, Yivku, and they cried. Because their wives and children are all being taken, we're never going to see them again. Until they had no strength to cry. They cried so much they couldn't cry anymore. They would
Cried out.
cry. Do you have this expression like that?
No, but
But that's what they said. They couldn't cry anymore. They were just no strength. Crying, banging on the floor. It's going to be. Ushtei Neshei David and the two wives of David, Nishpu, they were kept, obviously. Like everyone else, right? I'm just pointing out. Achinoyam HaYisraelit, that was one wife. And David had three wives, right? One of them wasn't there. One of them was with, what was his name?
what was his name?
The man who David's first wife was with.
Son of Shaul. Daughter of Shaul.
No.
Palti.
Palti ben Laish. She was the daughter of Shaul, correct, but he was Palti ben Laish. And he was looking after her. Make sure nothing happened to her. Okay? But David had two wives besides her. One was called Achinoyam from Yisrael, which is interesting. That's the place where they were actually going to find now. But Abigail, Aish, the former wife of Nabal HaKarmeli.
Yeah.
Wow, should we just get to the Samach and we'll stop. Atate Sarah David, and David was under a lot of pressure. The word Tsar. Tsar means narrow.
Oh.
Kol ha'olam kuloi gesher tsar moed. It's a very narrow bridge, right? Atate Sarah David, and David was under a lot of pressure, but Ki Amru, you know why? Because the people said, Amru, this to stone him. Everyone wanted to lynch David. Because this was all David's fault. That's what they felt. I don't know. Must be that's what they felt. Why he lynched David for nothing? Obviously, they felt this was David's fault. Ki mara nefesh kol ha'am. Because the soul of all the people was mara. Mara means bitter. Everyone felt terrible. Ish al banav, each one for his sons. V'al benotav, and his daughters. I don't want their wives. I don't think about their wives.
Why
It's
is
funny.
there Beno in parentheses? But
All of a sudden you got this question. You didn't know I didn't ask this question a million
ask
times
it
before.
every single time.
Okay, so I don't know, just like I don't answer that. Don't know. I don't know. Each time is a good question, right? Each one was going to be about his son. That's what Beno would mean.
right, but why
Beno
not
would mean his
daughters
son.
as well?
No, I don't know. I don't know why it says son in the singular, right? He was worried about his sons and his daughters, and they're all terribly bitter about it, and therefore they've got it in for David. It's all your fault, David. And they want to kill him. So why is it David? How can you explain this should be David's fault? What did David do wrong? What did David do wrong that they can blame him for? It's David's fault.
He didn't leave guards.
I suppose that's one possible. David didn't believe guards. You're taking everybody up north. Don't you really trust the neighboring? Don't forget, David's had it in for all
Or
those
he didn't
people.
kill them yet.
It's his fault for not killing all Amalekite.
Yeah.
Could be. It could be, right? Look, you killed some of them and you should have left guards. That's one possibility. It could be you didn't kill all the Amalekite, okay. Or it could be, I don't know, I thought this whole idea of showing Aish your trust and going to fight with him.
What was the alternative?
You know, well, I don't know. Trust in God. If you tell Aish that look, I can't fight with you because these are Jews, you know. It's true that we're runaways. We can't fight Jews the whole time. But this whole charade of David who's been making up for months and months, he goes out to fight Jews, and now it's like all a cover-up. It's a little bit hishtadlus, you know what I mean? Just do what you have to do and be honest about it. And trust that God, look, if you feel what you're doing is right, you don't have to pretend you're doing something else. Maybe.
Well, last time he told him legit, and they tried to kill him.
Okay.
So,
But you know, sometimes the light. How long can you keep playing this game that you're pretending to Aish that you're on his side? It's going to run out eventually.
Right.
What are you going to do then?
Right.
Then you have to trust in God. So trust in God now. I know. Or it could be like you say, he didn't put guards, he didn't kill all the Amalekite. Either way, they're upset with David, right? And they're upset with David, and they want to kill him. But Yischazek David, but David strengthened himself. Chazak means strong. Yitchazek means strengthened himself. Bashem Elikam, with the Lord his God. And somehow or other, he managed to defeat their arguments and managed to. What's the hell? Oh, it's all going to be well. But they want to kill you. Obviously, he must have had some argument that no, you're wrong.
We're gonna go in.
We're going to go in, maybe. All right. You mean his strength was instead of thinking it's my fault and wanted to kill me, that's going to solve the problem. Let's go and attack those Amalekim and bring our wives back.
Stop crying about something. Let's do something.
Could be.
about it.
It doesn't say. It just says he strengthened himself with God. And what? Okay. So it could be just said, no, I did what was the right thing and it's not my fault and let's see what we can do. And anyway, that's what David is going to go and will fight the Amalekim and bring their wives and children back. I guess I didn't know why they don't seem to be so concerned about their wives.
That's a good point. They only have
That's
70
what it
sons and daughters.